housing market has changed a lot in the last 12 months or so. So there's pros and cons of those changes. There's a lot to go through, so let's get into it. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name's Adam, I'm an expert mortgage broker. Today we're talking about first-time buyers, getting onto the property ladder, the steps we need to take. We're thinking about, what's changed over the last 12 months or so. Where are we now compared to where we were a year ago? What you need to think about, what you need to get ready, and what you need to get into your first property. So if you find today's video useful, subscribe to the channel, give us a like. It really helps know what content you're enjoying and everything. Now, if you're a first-time buyer as well, then you're definitely going to want to grab a copy of my book, Your Ultimate Guide to Buy Your First Property. Now, you can get it on Amazon, of course, but there is also a link to a free ebook version in the description under the video. So go and check that out. It's completely free. There's no obligation to do anything else. It's an e-version, so you can enjoy it at your leisure. Do it on your laptop or whatever. There's loads and loads of information in there that I've gathered and gained over the last, however long I've been doing this, 15 years or so. So there's loads and loads of stuff, useful stuff in there that you need to get prepared and get ready to buy your first property. So last time I did a video about buying your first home, well, I've probably done some since, but last time I kind of really sat down and talked about first-time buyers. The housing market was absolutely crazy. We were, offering over and above asking prices. We were in bidding wars. Prices were going through the roof every minute of the day. It was really, really hard to find a property because there were 15 other people that also wanted that property, and it was highest bid wins. Get your agreement in principle done, and then it's potluck whether your bid is higher than the rest. Sealed bids. Awful times really to be buying a property. Now things have changed a little bit. The housing market is no longer like that. It's still quite buoyant. It's still quite active. It hasn't crashed like some people thought it was going to, and I don't think it will. I don't think we're on for any property crash. Touch some wood, but I don't think that's going to happen. But it is a little bit quieter, so it is a little bit easier to just take your time a little bit more and just find the property that you want, and not expect to have to pay 4 times over the asking price to stand a chance of being accepted on that property. But as with most things in life, what we give with one hand, we take away with the other, and so now we've got a different battle on our hands, and that is the cost of doing it. So the cost of actually buying a property, and that's mainly due to it's due to a few things, isn't it, really? So we've got the cost of living crisis that we have been through and are going through, inflation, everything through the roof, steadying, I think, but, inflation is not where it should be. So that's put the cost of living up, it's put the cost of all of our utilities and our food and all of that sort of stuff has gone up. And interest rates have gone up as well. So whereas a year ago, we were thinking about buying a property with 10% deposit at, 2 or 3% interest. Now, that's maybe 5 or 6%, depending when you're watching this video. Currently, as I film this, rates are going up quite a lot. So who knows what they'll be when, in a couple of weeks, maybe when this video goes out. But the cost of actually borrowing the money has increased a lot. And so that is the main stumbling block now. You can go and find the property you want, and there aren't 15 other people interested, but it's going to cost you a lot more than it would have done a year ago to actually buy that property. So the key really to minimise that extra cost and that risk of the extra cost for you is to be doing it as early as possible. So before interest rates, whilst interest rates are going up, we want to be securing a new mortgage as soon as possible. Now, when you're buying a property, you can't do that until you've actually found one. So you can't say, well, yeah, I want that rate. You could speak to us today and we'll say, yes, it's X% and it'll cost you this much per month. But then if it's 3 weeks before you find a property, the landscape will have changed a little bit and the interest rate will have changed. We can't secure that rate for you until you've had your offer accepted on the property and everything's ready to go, and we can submit that full mortgage application. So there's a couple of things we can do. Not hang around trying to find a property and make your mind up and get an application in at least. Because I tell you what, if you do an application on a property, if anything goes wrong with that property, most lenders, you can choose a new property and keep the same mortgage you've got. Now that's not all lenders, there are exceptions to that rule. Some lenders you have to choose a new product, which isn't great if rates are going up, but most lenders will let you just sort of change properties and keep the same mortgage that you've applied for. So that's one thing, if you change your mind. But it's about, do you want to go and view the 10 properties that you think, well, you might not be interested in, just because you want to go and view some properties, or, are you going to go for the one that you've seen and you think is okay and that's going to do, that'll be all right for a few years, because that's what your first house is normally. It's all right for a few years and we move up in a couple of years' time. So the quicker we get that done, the quicker we can do your mortgage application. Now, I don't want anyone to rush into anything they don't want to do, of course, but what I'm saying is, don't hang around. The other thing you can do to help that process is get ready as soon as possible. So before you start looking at properties, we always say you need to check your affordability, we check your credit score, we do an agreement in principle, make sure it's all okay. We do that before you start looking for properties. Then as soon as you find something, we are literally ready to go. Send us all your documents as well. I say us, obviously you don't have to use us. This is information that will be relevant for any other mortgage broker as well. But if your mortgage broker's got your information, your pay slips, your bank statements, your ID and all that sort of stuff ready to submit an application, the very moment that you get your offer accepted, you can be on the phone and then we can be ready to get your application submitted before rates go up anymore. Because if we leave it even just a few days at the moment, we're finding that actually rates have changed. So the key really is to make sure that we do it as soon as we possibly can. So that kind of raises another point that we should think about really. Do you want to do it now? Do you want to rush and do something as soon as you can? Or is it best to wait? Now, I would always say, if you're happy with a property and it's affordable for you to do it now, because we don't know what the future holds. Property prices will probably continue to go up. They might, they do over time, long term. They may, peak and trough a little bit, but generally speaking, they go up. No one's expecting a property crash at the moment, touch wood. Who knows, but no one's expecting that. So do we want to do it kind of, as soon as we possibly can and maybe rush into it a little bit? Is that property that you've seen, is it going to be okay? If the monthly payments and all the costs and everything, if that's comfortable for you, then my advice is always just do it. If it's not comfortable and if it's a real stretch and your income isn't necessarily going to go up anytime in the next couple of years, you do kind of have to question whether it is the right time for you at the moment and whether we should just kind of bide your time, see if you can save some more deposit, see what things are like in a couple of years, because people do think rates are going to come down again in a couple of years, 2 or 3 years maybe. So that might be a better time for you. Now, I don't want to put anyone off buying a property. Obviously, I'm putting myself out of a job if we do that. But I do think we should just be sensible and just make sure that things are affordable. I don't want to see anyone really stretching themselves and it's just not comfortable each month, especially you factor in children and all that sort of stuff that come along as well. So I want to make sure it's comfortable for you to make that commitment, because it is a big commitment. But also, don't forget that we need to budget for some other things as well as just your mortgage. Your utility bills, your gas, electric, water, council tax, that sort of stuff, your food shopping and things as well, and entertainment and all that sort of stuff that goes with running a household. All of the costs of all of those things have gone up as well. So just think carefully about whether it is comfortable for you and you can afford it, or whether actually you're just gonna overstretch yourselves and it's not going to be an enjoyable experience, or you're going to end up having to do something drastic in a couple of years, because we don't want that. But assuming that's all okay and monthly payments are comfortable, not ideal, but you can afford it, then I think we're good to go. Don't hang around, and get it done as soon as you can. If you want to find out how quickly you can do it, how close you are, what it's going to cost you today, because it might change next week, but if you want to find out what it's going to cost you, get in touch. There's a link to book an appointment straight in our diary in the description below. There's also a link to the website where you can go and learn a bit more about us. You can get in touch with us on there as well. Don't forget the link in the description to the free ebook. Go and download that. There's loads of information in there. So hopefully we'll speak to you real soon. If not, I will see you on the next video. Take care.